rocking NBC Tuesday.
You're watching ER on NBC.
Dateline Friday. They were good kids with academic honors and scholarships. So what drove them to commit the ultimate crime of murder? A chilling all-new Dateline Friday on NBC.
Locked in a car, 14 stories up, dropped in an exploding inferno. This is no stunt. This is for real. Death-defying thrills, 8/7 Central NBC Saturday.
Coming up at 11, a News Channel 4 crew charters a plane flying into the Dominican Republic, hardest hit by Hurricane George. Linda Piccaro will bring you the pictures of the devastation and the latest on the massive rescue efforts underway there and in the other islands slammed by the killer storm.
And we are live tonight in South Florida, where thousands upon thousands are fleeing from George's path. Our live team coverage includes Janice Huff tracking the hurricane's movements.
And news about a new machine that can save lives from breast cancer.
And is the new De Niro film a must-see? Jeffrey Lyons' review at 11.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's all-new ER on NBC.
Next, exclusive live pictures tonight from inside the Dominican Republic, where Hurricane George hit hardest. News Channel 4's Linda Piccaro chartered a plane to bring us the massive recovery effort. Plus, we're live as South Florida braces for the worst and prays for the best. Next.
On the next all-new ER.
A special case.
I'm special.
An all-new ER, NBC next Thursday.
Later on The Tonight Show, let's go to the videotape. Jay surfs up the luscious Pamela Lee, plus Stephen King, the Hull, and the tunes of Natalie Merchant. Your local news is next. You're watching NBC4, the Tri-State News Channel. And now, Chuck Scarborough, Sue Simmons, Janice Huff, and Len Berman. This is News Channel 4 at 11.
Tonight, South Florida gets a taste of the troubles to come as a killer hurricane stirs up the surf and kicks up the wind.
Also tonight, add Cuba to the list of Caribbean islands battered by the deadly storm.
And we are live in a devastated Dominican Republic as the death toll in the Caribbean rises dramatically. Good evening, I'm Dean Shepard. Chuck's off tonight.
Well, tonight, as South Florida braces for the worst, the Caribbean islands hit by Hurricane George count the dead. More than 200 lives lost. Hundreds more missing. Linda Piccaro has been covering the hurricane since it hit Puerto Rico. Tonight, Linda chartered a plane to get the pictures and stories from the place hardest hit by the deadly storm, the Dominican Republic. Our team coverage begins with Linda's report from Santo Domingo.
You can't escape the destruction left behind by Hurricane George along the streets of Santo Domingo. Trees shredded by the 115-mile-per-hour winds. And while the images are tragic enough, these are not the worst of it. This woman arrived from Puerto Rico to check on relatives.
Puerto Rico is a mess, but here is devastation.
Homes made of wood with zinc roofs were the worst hit. The death toll is rising as government officials survey the damage throughout the island.
There's no phone lines, no cellular lines, everything is off in San Pedro de Macorís, but from a friend I know that their house, both my sister and my mother, has been destroyed.
She says, our beds are all outside, my house is destroyed, and there's flooding everywhere. People here in the Dominican Republic still have no water or electricity, but just 2 days after Hurricane George struck this island, government officials have already begun to help by providing shelter.
Trayendo un primer operativo para reparar viviendas.
He says we're bringing some materials so people can rebuild their homes. Those families whose homes were severely damaged are now in shelters, more than 100,000 people.
Las áreas más afectadas son por una parte el este del país, San Pedro de Macorís, La Romana e Higüey.
He says the most affected area is the east, San Pedro de Macorís, La Romana, and Higüey. In Santo Domingo, Linda Piccaro, News Channel 4.
And we will go live to Linda for an update a bit later in the program. Well, tonight, residents of Cuba are taking stock of what's left of their lives now that Hurricane George has come and gone. The deadly storm ripped across the Caribbean island earlier today, dumping heavy rains and leaving massive flooding in its wake. At least 2 people are dead, 200,000 others evacuated from their homes. Telephone poles poked out of the muddy water, marking washed-out roadways. Cuban leader Fidel Castro called for revolutionary unity as officials warned the intense downpour would ruin the region's coffee and banana crops. In Puerto Rico, the devastation has topped $2 billion in damage, with hundreds of homes lost, at least 3 deaths directly linked to the storm, and the island is experiencing a near total blackout.
There's still potentially as many as 28,000 people still in shelters. The Red Cross, the territorial government, and other voluntary agencies are working to sustain those people, but to begin feeding and other recovery activities as power gets reestablished and people are able to get back to their homes.
President Clinton has authorized federal disaster aid for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And in Haiti, the death toll stands at 42. 3 are dead, 2 missing in St. Kitts.
The threat tonight from George is very real in South Florida. Janice Huff is tracking the deadly storm. She's here now with the very latest. Janice?
Thanks, Sue. The storm is continuing to strengthen now as it moves out over the open waters into the Florida Straits, and weather conditions are worsening over South Florida. They've been receiving bands of heavy rain and thunderstorms out ahead of the center of Hurricane George. The center of the storm is now 165 miles southeast of Key West and Miami. It is moving now a little more towards the northwest, headed straight for the Keys versus the west-northwest track that it had been taking over the last several days, moving across the Caribbean. Now, the hurricane warnings are still in effect for all of South Florida, but they have been extended northward towards Longboat Key near the Sarasota-Bradenton area, and tropical storm warnings have been issued now northward to just north of Tampa, Florida. There's some of the rain bands now moving through South Florida. The first rain band, here's the eye of the storm here, and it's all moving northwest. They've been receiving tropical storm force winds in parts of the Keys already. We'll have another update with the track of what's going to happen with George after it moves through South Florida coming up in just a few minutes. Sue?
Janice, thank you. Tonight, the people of South Florida aren't sure exactly how bad it's going to get.
But they've been preparing for the hurricane for days. Our team coverage continues with Tim Lake in Miami.
The rain started falling in Miami after dark. It's being driven by brisk winds. Streets throughout the downtown area are nearly empty. But the party atmosphere on South Beach continued despite the threat of Hurricane George. In Miami, boaters tied off their vessels in Biscayne Bay, but many of them won't make it through a severe hurricane. Earlier in the day, famous Duval Street in Key West looked like a deserted movie set. Every business and restaurant had been boarded up and abandoned as people evacuated the low-lying keys. Miami is expecting tropical storm force winds and several inches of rain. And if the current track continues, Miami may once again dodge the worst of another hurricane.
Now in the tri-state area tonight, people are giving of themselves to help the victims of Hurricane George. News Channel 4's Tiwa Chang is live in Union City with the very latest on the local relief effort. Tiwa?
Well, Dean, here in Union City, which has the second largest Cuban-American population in the United States, there's both a sense of concern and the commonplace. People are worried about their relatives in Cuba, but they also have been through hurricanes before. The firehouses in Union City have become the receiving points for aid to Cuba. Much of this clothing and the small amounts of food will end up as humanitarian aid permitted to be sent to Cuba via the Red Cross.
There's great anxiety. There's no communication, and people are desperate to find out about their relatives and loved ones on the mainland.
Mayor Garcia says most of the 100,000 Cuban and Cuban Americans in the Union City area have relatives in that Caribbean country, where some 500,000 homes reportedly have been destroyed. The images on television are all the information that many people here have of the destructiveness of Hurricane George. Few have been able to telephone relatives in Cuba. What did your family do? Did you try and call?
Well, my mother tried, but the lines are down in my hometown, and in Florida we'll call tomorrow.
My mom's been dialing all day long. We haven't been able to get any information.
All day in New Jersey, supplies have been sent to the Caribbean countries in George's deadly path. And in the Bronx, people lined up to donate supplies to the hurricane's victims in even harder hit Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. But there are few lines for the victims in Haiti, even though that country shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic.
It is a fact. I concur, with that. Actually, we have been treated as a child out of wedlock. You see, there is no effort at all on the part of the government, particularly the state of New York.
According to a spokesperson for New York City Mayor Giuliani, the reason the city's not set up any aid for Haiti is because the Haitian government has not requested any. Reporting live in Union City, TWA News Channel 4. Now back to Dean and Sue.
All right, T.W., thank you. We have Linda Becerro live in Santo Domingo now. Linda, I'm assuming the worst of the storm has happened. What is the latest?
Well, the latest right now is just looking at the devastation. Now, workers here have already begun clearing some of the fallen trees, for example, from the roads. So the middle of the roads are clear, but all along the side, you just simply cannot escape the damage that Hurricane George left behind. Now, all over in some areas in the middle of the street, there are fallen trees, huge, large, old trees, which obviously weighed very heavily and yet were toppled by the strength of these winds. And also, we saw many homes that were destroyed. The damage, as I said, much more extensive than anything I saw in Puerto Rico.
Well, Linda, I saw that there were trucks loaded with wood for rebuilding homes already, so some of the roads are open and some of the repairs started.
In fact, that is a contrast to what we saw in Puerto Rico, although obviously the task ahead of them is very large in Puerto Rico, and they have done a wonderful job of clearing the roads. We had a straight, clear roadway on the highway, something that was not possible to do, to travel very far on the highways just a couple of days ago. But here, already, they've begun helping homeowners by giving them pieces of wood to help rebuild their homes, also pieces of zinc roof that they can attach to their homes so they can have shelter once again. In Puerto Rico, there is a much longer process ahead, including giving out applications for people to fill out, to go through the process of getting aid through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA.
All right, Linda Becerro, thank you. Linda reporting live from Santo Domingo. Once again, winds are gusting in Key West tonight as Hurricane George nears Florida. The storm's death toll across the Caribbean is expected to exceed 200. Puerto Rico suffered $2 billion in damage, with hundreds of homes lost and property destroyed. Everywhere, hurricane victims are struggling to find water, ice, food, and other bare essentials to cope with their losses and the tropical heat. Entire cities in our area are mobilizing to provide money, water, and supplies to the storm victims.
Well, coming up, a house of hate. What police say is the worst bias crime they have ever seen.
Plus, Monica on tape. Will America get to hear what she told Linda Tripp?
Then a new twist in the battle between the Islanders and Nassau Coliseum.
Later, should you line up this weekend for the new De Niro film? Jeffrey Lyons reviews Ronin. Stay with us.
You worried about saving your own skin? Yeah, I am. Covers my body.
When everything goes wrong,
Get the background. Guy goes for the case. Oh, they're good.
he's the one who can make it right. Time magazine says Ronin is a sly masterpiece. The real deal in action fireworks, raves Rolling Stone. And Gene Shalit says, deceit, deception, De Niro, Ronin.
Did you ever kill anybody? I hurt somebody's feelings once.
Rated R starts Friday.
You're bonding with your son.
Big date on Saturday night, huh?
When unfortunately, things don't go quite as you planned.
I'll tell you what, big guy. You promise to be careful. I'll let you take my car.
Thanks, Dad. But no thanks. Maybe now would be a good time to introduce you to the all-new 99 Galan ES with totally new styling. Right now, you can lease it for just $235 a month at your Mitsubishi retailer. Hurry, you don't have much time.
Hey, you Morty Briskin?
Who's asking?
Had a hard time finding this place.
Dear Mort, you have been accepted to Harvard University and awarded a scholarship. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. You must respond, however, by May 1978.
Better late than never.
Next time, be absolutely sure. Don't just send it FedEx.
See you in September.
Edited transcripts of Linda Tripp's telephone conversations with Monica Lewinsky may soon be released, but America probably will not get to hear the actual recordings. The House Judiciary Committee will decide tomorrow if that and other material should be made available to the public. The committee also plans to vote in the first week of October on whether to begin impeachment hearings, and the White House has pledged its full cooperation.
We conduct ourselves with the solemnity and the dignity that the process requires, even if we take some objection to the fact that the inquiry is going to be commenced.
If approved, the measure will go before the full House for a vote by October 9th.
On Long Island tonight, police in Westbury are investigating a malicious act of anti-Semitic vandalism. Police say a landscaper discovered a door open at one of his clients, and when he went in to check, he discovered the hateful graffiti. Police say anti-Semitic graffiti, including swastikas, were sprayed all over the inside of the home on Maryland Lane. The owners weren't at home at the time, and police cannot confirm if they're Jewish. Greenwich Village's annual Halloween party of sorts, parade. The parade may be in trouble this year. City Councilman Tom Duane is asking the mayor to hold off on issuing the permit this year until the community board can hold a hearing. Duane says he's concerned about the parade spawning more anti-gay violence. There have been several incidents of violence against gays in recent weeks. Still to come tonight, a star-studded extravaganza at Madison Square Garden. We will tell you what it's all about.
Then, is De Niro at his best, or is this just the bust? Jeffrey Lyons reviews Ronin next.
Get ready for something that will change the way you use your wireless phone into the next millennium. Digital Choice Single Rate from Bell Atlantic Mobile. It's revolutionary.
I should have listened to my mother.
When you're lost, the accurate TL can help.
Destination on the left.
There's gotta be a place that's still open.
No.
Yes, there.
You're kidding. When a craving strikes, the TL can help. And when something comes between you and your destination, hospital, detour, the TL will get you there.
Keep right.
Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
It's here. A wireless plan with no roaming or long-distance charges. Digital Choice Single Rate from Bell Atlantic Mobile. There's nothing better in the world.
Friday at 5:30 on Today in New York.
I'm Maurice Dubois, live team coverage of Hurricane George, plus new drugs about to be approved by the FDA. How VH1 is helping to bring music to some city schools, and how to turn obstacles into opportunities in the morning.
Dodge Intrepid's styling speaks for itself. As for what's underneath, car and driver had a few words of their own. Lease a well-equipped Intrepid for as low as $269 a month.
R-E-S-P-C-T, and what it means to me. R-E-S-P-C-T,
Sock It To Me, Sock It To Me. Aretha Franklin and Boyz II Men were among the many stars belting out hits at Madison Square Garden tonight, and it was all for a good cause. Proceeds will benefit the National Mentoring Partnership. Funds will be used to train adults on how to be good mentors for young people. Natalie Cole and Barry Manilow were also on hand for the event, and NBC's Tom Brokaw hosted the evening.
A renowned director, a famous actor. But will the combination win over movie audiences? Jeffrey Lyons is here with a review of Ronin.
Well, Dean and Sue, at the start of this film, we're told rather pretentiously that a Ronin was a disgraced samurai years ago in ancient times who'd failed to protect his warlord and was condemned to wander aimlessly. Directed by the great John Frankenheimer, who made two of my top 10 all-time favorite movies, The Manchurian Candidate and 7 Days in May, this one is a huge disappointment.
Why do they want you in there? What, are you crazy? You know, you think too hard. Nobody ever told me that before.
Robert De Niro plays one of several leftovers from the Cold War. He's an ex-CIA type who's now a member of a team of hired gunmen. Their mission? To obtain the package. But we're never told what's inside the package and why they're willing to kill and perhaps die for it. Anyway, they plan their scheme all right, but all is not well among them.
You got the gun. I'm unarmed. Do something. Go ahead. Do something. Do something. Do something. Tell me about an ambush. Tell me about an ambush. I ambushed you in a cup of coffee.
Later, a treacherous member of the group tries to get the package for himself and sell it to the highest bidder. But he's caught. Almost.
Where is it? Where is it?
I don't have it with me.
Where?
I mailed it to myself.
Where is it? It's Watson Paris.
Help! He's on me!
Now, De Niro makes so many movies every year, it seems, he's becoming familiar and, yes, even predictable, almost a parody of himself. As for teamwork, you know this mission will quite probably fail. Every scene looks like this, it appears.
An endless journey of screeching tires through narrow, if picturesque, French streets.
You can cut him up at the end of the porch.
Roger that. I got it.
Now, to put this in context, John Frankenheimer also directed The Birdman of Alcatraz and the fine miniseries George Wallace and Andersonville. But Ronin is just a series of mind-numbing car chases interspersed with incessant violence, all in the pursuit of that mysterious package. Quaint French streets and alleyways don't help. Ronin is a rare misstep, therefore, from a great director, and a movie which isn't nearly as significant as it thinks it is. Big disappointment.
All right, thanks.
Well, straight ahead, will Hurricane George wreak havoc with our weekend weather? Janice Huff has the forecast next.
Plus, the latest out of South Florida as the killer storm heads that way.
Something strange is happening in New York. People seem to be getting friendlier. Well, it must be because of Light FM. After all, they play lots of great light music that makes you feel good, and there's hardly any talking, so it's perfect to keep you going while you work. And it seems like you hear Light FM everywhere you go, in delis, at hair salons, in the office, everywhere. So no wonder people are friendlier.
106.7 Light FM, the most music with less talk.
Did I mention that crime is down? Light FM.
At last, a mini SUV with enough power to take you anywhere you want to go. And enough space and comfort to make the journey enjoyable. Introducing the all-new V6 Grand Vitara from Suzuki.
Excuse me. Is that really a Suzuki? It's very nice.
America is falling in love with one true thing.
I'm gonna go call my mom right now, just to tell her I love her.
I can handle this. I've never been touched so much by a movie.
I'm still crying, no.
One True Thing. Rated R. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Later on an all-new Tonight Show, Pamela Anderson Lee has a new show and a new look.
I'm a mom now, so I wanted to mellow out.
Oh, yeah, that's mellow. Plus, the king of strange, Stephen King, is, well, strange.
This may sound crazy, but all I can say is...
And it had to happen. The Dancing Lewinsky's and other shockers. Then Conan's got Dennis Leary tonight.
Oh, no. No. What are you doing? Give me the bat. Stance is all wrong. Check this out. Come to Papa.
The Saturn wagon. With easy to maintain, dent-resistant doors.
Good pitch. I'll see you guys later.
It's like no other sale. Stern's Super Sale. Super prices plus extra 15 and 10% coupons. Sag Harbor wool blazers, $42.49. All bridge jewelry, 50 plus 10% off plus coupon. Famous Maker bras, just $10.19 to $13.59. All men's dress shirts, $16.99 to $25.49. 30 to 40% off kids wear plus coupon. Comforter ensembles or handcrafted quilts, $24.29. Now through Sunday, Stern's Super Sale. It's big.
In news for your health this evening, there is a new weapon in the war on breast cancer. It's a special MRI scanner that's been adapted to diagnose the potentially deadly disease, and doctors believe it will help save lives.
It's giving us different ways of utilizing physical principles to interrogate or examine a piece of tissue.
Health experts say having an MRI is more comfortable than a mammogram because there is no need to compress the breast tissue. But they also say the MRI should not replace mammograms as a screening tool.
Well, tonight, tens of thousands of South Florida residents have packed their bags and are moving to higher ground. Many have taken the voluntary evacuation alert seriously as Hurricane George swirls toward the Florida coast. Houses are boarded up and emergency shelters are being readied. Janice Huff is back with a look at what's ahead for our area.
Well, as far as our weather is concerned, Sue, it's going to be another cool night, although not as chilly as last night. We had a lot of areas in the 30s and 40s, but tonight, mainly 40s and 50s. That due to clouds rolling in the area. Let's go outside right now and check out conditions live from our sky cam. It looks clear, though. Horizontal visibility is good, but above us there are some clouds right now, and the temperature 62 degrees at Central Park. Our winds are out of the west at 9 miles per hour, relative humidity 58%. The pressure is rising right now at 30.19.
Here's our weather almanac from today. Temperatures a little bit warmer than yesterday, a couple of degrees, 68 for a high today. Chilly morning at Central Park, 49 degrees, but not a record. Our mold spores are high. The weed count is moderate. The ragweed and grass pollens are low. Temperatures right now, quite an array. We've got 40s on the eastern end of Long Island, but 50s and 60s elsewhere. Albany, New York right now, it's 48 degrees. Syracuse, 53. So not as cold to the north of us tonight either because of that patch of clouds rolling in toward the area with a frontal boundary that's well to our west, touching off a few showers over parts of Ohio. There's George coming into the picture now. South Florida getting some heavy rain bands, especially around the Keys and near Miami. It's 165 miles southeast of Key West. Now turning a little more to the northwest, heading straight for the Keys, and winds are up to 90 miles per hour. And there's nothing to prevent the strengthening of George over the next few hours, except for the mainland portions of the U.S., and it may be a while before it hits the mainland. As it moves northward into the Florida Keys tonight and tomorrow morning, they'll see hurricane-force winds there that may be topping 90 miles per hour by then. And then after that, George is expected to curve a little more northward into the Gulf of Mexico, where it could strengthen even farther. In the meantime, we have Hurricane Jean that's still a couple thousand miles away from the Caribbean, but it's strengthening. Winds are up to 105 miles per hour with that storm. These two, Ivan and Carl, we really don't have to worry about right now, but we're watching Jean next. Here's our forecast for the tri-state area. Mostly cloudy and cool tonight. 57 degrees in the city. Not quite as chilly as last night, but we'll have some 40s north and west. Mostly cloudy tomorrow morning with a temperature of 63. By the afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds. It'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow with that southwest wind up to 74. Saturday will be the same type of day as Friday, but warmer Sunday with a high of 82. A chance for showers Monday, probably not associated with any type of hurricane, because on Monday, George will be somewhere down across the southeastern portion of the country. It's a little early to tell, but we are watching it carefully, and we'll let you know.
Thank you, Janice. Still ahead on News Channel 4 at 11, the Yankees looking to make history tonight against Wade Boggs and the Devil Rays.
And the Mets are heading to Atlanta for their most important series of the season, trying to capture a wild card berth. Len Berman has all the sports coming up.
Basically, I'm cautiously greedy. I love the stock market, but I don't like a lot of risk. How do I deal with this? By investing for the long haul.
OppenheimerFunds, the right way to invest.
We're back with leftovers that were just built. It's Chevy's one-of-a-kind model year-end clearance. Lisa just built leftover 98 Blazer for $299 per month. 36 months with $699 due at signing. Or buy and get $2,500 cash back. Buy a leftover 98 Malibu and get $1,000 cash back. Get $1,500 on Chevy Venture. Or choose 0.9% APR financing. Just built leftovers are arriving daily. It's the one-of-a-kind model year-end clearance, so shop Chevy.
What's on your horizon?
A strong heart.
What's on my horizon? Ask again later.
My horizon? One guess. Absolutely nothing.
Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey is now Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey.
My horizon? Just breathing.
A new name, a new outlook. Now, this is your horizon.
I don't know what's up with the market, but I do know I've got a long-term strategy. And so does my mutual fund company.
OppenheimerFunds, the right way to invest.
Tomorrow at 5, Florida waits for yours as the Caribbean recovers.
I'll show you how the residents of the Dominican Republic are coping with the devastating effects of Hurricane George.
Stay with News Channel 4 for the most complete coverage. Tomorrow on Live at 5.
The great shoe sale at Macy's Fall Sale. What's hip for the moment? Must-have basics. Great savings on the best for fall. Etienne Agnier lace-up boot, just $79.99. Enzo Angiolini leather flat, just $49.99. 9 West pump, just $39.99. Timberland hiking boot, just $69.99. Skechers sneaker, just $39.99. Save on aerosols, Jones, New York, Keds, and more. The great shoe sale at Macy's Fall Sale. Going on now.
The CR-V from Honda with real-time four-wheel drive. Don't keep it cooped up too long.
An engineering firm hired by the NHL is expected to issue its report on the Nassau Coliseum tomorrow, so a judge can decide if it is safe enough for the Islanders' first preseason game tomorrow night. A state Supreme Court judge ordered a full inspection report on his desk by tomorrow, so he can decide the safety issue in time for the game. The Islanders are suing to get out of their lease and demanding $10 million in damages, citing the safety problems. Mr. Berman.
Yes, sir. Another win, another record for the Yankees tonight, hosting Tampa Bay at the stadium. David Wells tuning up for the playoffs. He was strong in the first inning. He did yield 2 runs through 5. Now in the 5th, bases loaded. Shane Spencer strikes again. A grand slam homer off Wilson Alvarez, making it 4 home runs in 3 days. How can they leave this guy off the postseason roster? What a show he's putting on. That made it 5-2 Yankees as they got to celebrate their 111th win, most ever in Yankee history, and tying them with the 54 Cleveland Indians. Most wins in an American League season. And the Red Sox going for the clinch tonight. Tom Gordon pitching to Roberto Alomar of the Orioles. Got him. Red Sox nailed down the wild card, beating Baltimore 9-6. As of today, it's Boston-Cleveland in one playoff, Yankee-Texas in the other. That could change. And the Red Sox half-heartedly with the champagne. I think they seem more interested in lighting up cigars tonight in their locker room. 3 games to go. The Mets are in Atlanta tomorrow, the Cubs in Houston, the Giants in Colorado. The Mets leaving Shea for the airport earlier this evening. 3 games in Atlanta, and then who knows? I asked Turk Wendell how he thought this would all play out.
I've said for about a week now that I think it's going to come out to Monday afternoon against the Cubs. I think that both of our teams are teams with a destiny, and that's pretty much the storybook ending how it's going to end, I feel.
Well, either way, if it's a 2 or 3 team playoff, the Mets would be at home Monday at 1 o'clock. Giants hosting Pittsburgh this afternoon, bottom of the 1st. Barry Bonds got them going against Elmer Dessens, his 37th home run of the season. The Giants with 4 homers today. This is Joe Carter. They sweep the 4-game series from the Pirates 6-2. They finish up with the Rockies, and here's how it looks with just 3 games remaining. Mets and Cubs are tied. The Giants trailing by just 1 game. They suddenly have a terrific shot. And Mark McGwire going for number 66 in St. Louis tonight in the 5th inning against Montreal, and that's number 59. Can you believe he has 66 home runs but just 59 singles all season long? McGwire homerless again, still tied with Sosa at 65. The NBA has canceled some exhibition games as the lockout continues, so players like Jason Williams of the Nets continue to work out on their own. We asked Jason how the lockout is affecting him financially.
I'm going to hold out. You know, I put some money away. I expected this. You know, I'm not going to give in because your bank account starts getting a little low like David Stern and all the other NBA representatives wants us to do. We're going to keep holding out, and we're going to fight until we get what we think is right. Plus, you know, I got Sue Simmons taking me out to dinner every other night. So, hey, you know, at least I eat well and get seen with a beautiful woman.
We always wondered what Sue did between 5 and 11 o'clock.
I love picking up those tabs.
Right.
I love it.
Well, bless you. Very much.
Thank you. Well, up next, bracing for Hurricane George.
The Caribbean has been devastated, and now the storm is headed right for South Florida. We'll have the very latest for you next.
Your money. Investing it should get you somewhere. So you put your money in mutual funds. How do they invest it? At Janus, they dig deep. They like to visit the company before they buy the stock. They interview customers, suppliers, employees. Looking that closely turns up the most promising places to invest your money. That's how you get there. Janus Mutual Funds.
Summer means clearance at your Chrysler and Plymouth dealer. Clearance means low finance rates. Now get 1.9 APR on all Chrysler and Plymouth minivans. Clearance means America's lowest priced minivan, Plymouth Voyager, costs even less. Clearance means big factory authorized cash back. Get $1,500 cash back on Plymouth Grand Voyager and Chrysler Town & Country LXI. Summer means clearance. Clearance means savings at your Chrysler and Plymouth dealer.
Sooner or later, a Mazda's gonna move you. We just thought we'd speed up the process. It's Mazda's Make Your Move clearance event. Get 0.9% APR financing on thousands of new Mazdas or cash back on Mazda 626 or Mazda Millennium. Call or visit our website for details. See your Mazda dealer and make your move today.
Closed captioning on News Channel 4 at 11. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Now the latest on tonight's top story, Hurricane George. Winds are gusting off the shores of South Florida as the deadly hurricane makes its final approach to the United States mainland. The core of the storm should be near the Florida Keys by daybreak. Thousands have evacuated their communities, leaving their boarded-up homes behind. 750,000 people along the South Florida coast were warned to clear out. We'll, of course, have the latest for you tomorrow morning beginning at 5:30 on Today in New York.
And for updates on the hurricane around the clock, just go to our website. It is newschannel4.com. You'll see a live Doppler radar picture of the hurricane, the storm's exact location, brought up to date every 2 minutes.
Well, that's it for News Channel 4 at 11. The Tonight Show with Jay Leno is next.
Jay's guests include actress Pamela Lee and singer Natalie Merchant. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
You're watching NBC Late Night. Most honored, most watched.
No.